Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Amrutaduhe Namaha. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Gita. We are seeing the 13th chapter, and in that 13th chapter we read shloka number 11 yesterday. And the context, if we just want to recapitulate, so I gave the introduction that the whole world can be divided into what can be classified into two categories, that is the sentient and insentient. Sentient is something which knows itself and also knows others. Insentient is something which is jada, as we call in Sanskrit. That is something which we call inert in English. That is something which does not know itself, it does not know others. So in other words, something which is intelligent and non-intelligent, not unintelligent but non-intelligent. So in that category, the jiva, or the human being, also not only human being but all the animals, ants, mosquitoes, all these things, we call them intelligent. And where is this intelligence from? Is this intelligence born in the mind, or is this intelligence something which is universal? And Vedanta has told earlier that intelligence or consciousness is something which is universal, and that is the only eternal thing, that it is the only unchanging thing. Consciousness is the only unchanging thing. And that consciousness is if you want to use a term called God, you can call it God. And that God, usually we say He. Whereas this consciousness, we don't say he or she or anything, we say it. So that is the reason why we call Brahman it. So the 13th chapter is an analysis of what is the knower and what is the known, who is the seer and who is the seen in the human body, or in the, as we call it, body-mind complex, or when we refer to a jiva in particular. A jiva is a mixture of both sentient and also insentient. Because I can see my own body, I can see my own hand, I can see my leg, I can see my own mind, I can observe my own thoughts. So there is something called I, that where that spurana, where that consciousness is emanating, and that emanating or consciousness is appearing rather, and that consciousness is able to know all these things. So what is that? So that has been the analysis here. And Vedanta says that just like the sunlight falls on all the bodies, so you have got thousands and thousands of water bodies, thousands of lakes, pools, small water pools, etc., puddles and whatnot. In all those pools, puddles and lakes, millions and millions of reflections they do take place, reflections of the sun. And these reflections depend on the quality of the water here. And the sun's light is in no way affected. Sun's light is in no way affected by the type of substance on which it is falling, whether it is falling on a pure substance or an impure substance, whether it is falling on a king's palace or on a poor man's hut, it does not make any difference to the sunlight. So this consciousness, what we call the supreme consciousness, is something which is totally unaffected, untouched by all these things. So this is in someone's substance what is meant by Vedanta. And now, up to this point, Krishna has been saying as to what that Jnayam is. Jnayam is what all can be objectified, what all can be seen is that Jnayam. Then again he told 20 points, that is Jnana Sadhanani. From 7 to 11, Jnana Sadhanani he said, 7th shloka to 11th shloka. So he told about the qualities of a Jnani. How this Jnani, how does he conduct himself, how he behaves, what are the qualities, characteristics in him. And incidentally, there are also the qualities which have to be consciously cultivated by a seeker. So that is what we saw. That is what is called Jnanam, Jnana Sadhanani, because they are tools for Jnanam. They are also called Jnanam, just by way of some sort of, by way of courtesy, as we say. Then, now we come to the 12th shloka. In this 12th shloka, now we are knowing about what is this Kshetrajna. We use the term Kshetrajna. So that Kshetrajna, Krishna is using another name called Jnayam. The Jnayam is that which deserves to be known, that which has to be known, that is again not as an objective, that which has to be realized. See, when we say God has to be known, or the supreme reality has to be known, or supreme reality has to be seen, it is not seen as an object, it is not something which is objectified, it is something which is understood. So that understanding itself is knowing. Understanding itself is reaching it. Understanding itself is becoming it. So that of course we are going to see. So now 12th shloka, I'll read. Jneyam yat tat pravakshyami yad jnatva amrutamashnute anadimat param brahma nasattanna saduchyate. In fact, these 2-3 shlokas, they actually encapsulate the whole meaning of the Vedanta, the whole substance, summoned substance of Vedanta. In fact, in one of the shlokas, in one of the commentaries, in his commentary under one of these shlokas, Shankaracharya is going to say that this summarizes the whole Vedanta thought, because it is the entire Vedanta thought is to know about who am I and what is that I. So the whole Vedanta thought is mentioned here in these few shlokas. Krishna in his own terms, he is saying, and we have to understand what exactly it is. So this Jneyam is that, in fact, the whole quest of human being is to know what is that supreme reality. The entire quest, you go to anybody, even an ordinary man, of course, ordinary man may not, he is a simple believer. You see, there are two terms called a believer and a thinker. So people usually say, oh, they are all believers. Okay, right now, they are all believers only, because they are not thinkers. When religion says, yes, this is God, this is God, this is God, and you say, oh, are you a believer and a non-believer? You are a believer, okay, you believe in it, we don't mind. But you have to be a thinker. So Vedanta says, no, you need not be a believer, you be a thinker. You may or may not be a believer, we don't bother, but be a thinker. So this Jneyam, something which has to be understood, something which has to be known. It is not something to be believed. So Krishna is never using the term belief. So Jneyam yat tat pravakshyami, that which has to be known, I am going to tell you. Yad jnatva amrutamashnute, by knowing which. Yat jnatva means by knowing which. Amrutam is immortality. Ashnute means attains. And again, when I use the word immortality, we should always keep in mind that it is not in physical terms. It is not in the physical terms of the body staying for hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years. That is not immortality. So we see one character in some mythology, maybe in Roman mythology or something. There is a character called a Sibyl, Sybil, Sibyl. So that Sibyl is somebody who, when God appears, God wants to give a boon. She asks, okay, I want to be eternal, or I want to have so many thousands of years of life. So in those thousands and thousands of years of life, she becomes more and more shriveled. She is only asking for eternal life. She is not asking for eternal youth. So because of that mistake, she gets shriveled and shriveled and shriveled. Ultimately, she becomes so small. She is put in the niche of a wall. They usually, the walls in olden days, they used to have some niche. So in that niche, she is kept, and she is always crying. She wants to die, but she doesn't die. So that is not the fate here. Amrutam is something which is realizing that one's own nature is that immortal Brahman. I am not this body-mind complex. I am that immortal. My essential nature is that Sat and Chit, that consciousness and existence, which is not different from which is the same as that of Brahman. So that awareness totally liberates a man from all these petty bonds, petty identities. He forgets his petty identity, that he belongs to so-and-so caste, so-and-so religion, etc., etc. So he rises above all these things. So yajñātva amrutam ashnute. Ashnute means a person attains. It is in the third person. Krishna, though he is telling Arjuna, he is telling in the third person. Yajñātva manushyaha amrutam ashnute. By knowing which a person attains that immortality. And the second line is very important, because the first line is only saying, I am going to tell you what is that Brahman, by knowing which you will become immortal. So that is what the first line is. The second line is, what is that Brahman? What is that? Anadimat param brahma na sat tat na asaduchyate. Na sat tat. Tat means, tat always refers to that. Not refers to that, tat means that. And that refers to that Supreme Brahman. Whenever we see this word tat, this tat is something which is referring to that Supreme Brahman. So that Brahma is something which is anadimat. Anadimat. So we have to see what is this anadimat. Adi means beginning. Adimat means something which has a beginning. Like Dhanavan. Dhanavat. Dhanavan, Dhanavat. Adimat. Adi, one who has Adi is called Adiman. Adimat because this is something in neuter gender. Adiman is masculine gender, Adimat is neuter gender. Dhanavan, Dhanavat, Buddhiman, Buddhimat. So Buddhiman, Buddhimat is something which has got buddhi. So matu pratyaya, it is called a pratyaya, it is a sort of suffix in Sanskrit, which means one who has this, one who has this, one who has this. Dhanavan, one who has dhanam. Gunavan, one who has gunam. Buddhiman, a person who has buddhi. So it is called matu pratyaya. So Adiman or Adimat, Adimat is Napumsakalinga, that is neuter gender. Adimat is something which has a beginning. That which does not have a beginning is, you add one na, you put one prefix na. Even in English it is the same thing. Agnostic, something, theist, atheist, so like that. So this you put one na, nakara. Na plus adimat becomes anadimat. That na tatpurusha samasa, that na and da interchange, and it becomes anadimat. Na plus adimat, anadimat. That which has no beginning at all. And when we say that which has no beginning, even what we call Maya, it is also beginningless. So because we know that this supreme reality called consciousness is something which is beginningless. And that consciousness, it has got an expressive or manifesting power. It is manifesting in the nature of, in the form of this universe. And that manifestation goes on in cycles and cycles. So that manifestation also is eternal. So that means that Maya is also something which is eternal. So how to distinguish this Brahma from Maya? So that is why it is saying, Anadimat Param Brahma, that supreme Brahma. What is the distinction between this Brahma and Maya? This Brahma is something which is eternal, whereas eternal, of course, though it is Adi, Anadi, Anantam. Brahma is Anadi and Anantam. We'll just take a break and resume. Let us resume. We are seeing an important point, that is, what is the distinction between this Brahma and what we call Maya. Brahman is that supreme consciousness. Maya is that manifesting power in that consciousness is called Maya. Maya does not mean magic or anything. Maya means that manifesting power. We also call it Prakriti, we call it Pradhanam, Sankhya's call it Pradhanam, etc., etc. Then, what is the distinction? Brahman is something which is Anadi, it has no beginning, and it has no end also. It has no end also. Whereas Maya is something which has got a beginning. It has no beginning, of course. It is also something which is on par with God with respect to beginning. So when a human being is there means his Shakti is also there with him. So this Shakti, that manifesting power, or what we call Maya, is again, it is manifesting as the whole universe. And this whole universe is nothing but Brahma. This whole universe is something which is a manifestation in that Brahma. It is a phenomenon in that Brahma. And a person who does not know this, that this is something which is only tentative, which has got a tentative reality, which is not absolutely real. This whole world or universe is not something which is absolutely real, which has got some tentative reality. So this gentleman, a person who knows it, for a person who knows it, that Maya ceases to operate, and he sees Brahman everywhere. So that is why Vedanta says, everywhere you see Brahman. A Jnani is somebody who sees Brahman in all things. Who sees Brahman in an ant, in a mosquito, in a human being, in a dog, Shunichaiva Shvapakecha. That is in a dog, in a Panditji, or in a horse, or in an elephant, in all the things, he sees Brahman. So how, why? Because it is only just a manifestation in that Brahman with a tentative reality. So that is awareness which he has got, and he treats every being with respect, every being with love and compassion. So that is the point between, that is the difference between Brahma and Maya. The Brahma is Anadi Anantam. Maya, or the phenomenal universe is Anadi, no doubt, but Santam. Santam means it comes to an end. When a person gets realized, a realized person knows that all this is nothing but Brahman. So for him, that Maya has gone. With respect to all others, it is there. Maya does not see him. Maya does not disappear for all the people. A person who is enlightened, for him, that Maya disappears. So that means Maya is anadi but santam. Santam is that which has an end. Sa antam. Antam is an end. So that is what we have to see. Anadimat param brahma. To make a distinction between this Maya and Brahma, it is saying, this Krishna is saying that it is anadimat param brahma. Then one more problem. Na sat tat, na asad uchyate. Tat means that. And that Brahma, that supreme reality as we want to call it, we cannot say it is existing. Na sat, tat, na asat. We can't say it is not there. We can't say it is there, we can't say it is not there. Again, it's a funny thing. So, it's a very difficult way of saying it. We can't say, yes, it is there. When we say it is there, Shrungagrahikaya, in Sanskrit there is an expression called Shrungagrahikaya. Shrunga means a horn. Suppose you catch a goat or something by the horn and then you bring that goat, catching by the horn and then you bring it. Yes, this is the goat. Shrungagrahikaya, you are doing that pradarshana. Shrungagrahikaya pradarshayati. So you bring it and then show it there. So, but Brahma is not something, yes, this is it, we can't show. Every other thing you can show. Oh, this is a pen, this is a book, this is that, this is a hill, this is a lake, this is something else. So that is, they are the stars, this is what is the space, etc., etc. You can show all the things, Shrungagrahikaya. But you cannot show Brahman as an objective because it is something which is beyond the senses. It has to be understood only. It has to be understood. How it has to be understood, he will tell later. So when we say na sat, you cannot say that it is this. You cannot say it is this. So that is what it means. It does not mean that na sat does not mean that Brahma is not there. We are not talking about Shunyavada. Na sat is, we cannot say, yes, this is it. You can't objectify it. That is the meaning. Then na asad uchyate. You can't say it is not there also. You cannot say it is there. You cannot say it is not there also. So this is again a very interesting point. Then when whatever you want to show, there is something which is existing. There is something which is existing in the form of universe. And behind this universe there should be some sort of background material. Suppose you are seeing something. For example, there is some sort of rope on the ground and by mistake in some sort of semi-darkness, you notice it as a snake. But that snake is not there. But for the snake, there is something which is the basis, which forms the basis for that snake, for the appearance of that snake. For this phenomena called snake, there is a basis or a substratum which is there, and that substratum or basis is the rope. So similarly, for this entire thing which is universe, which is appearing as universe, there is some substratum, and that substratum is that Brahman. Without some basic reality, something, phenomena cannot be there. There should be some reality, and on that reality only some phenomena can be there. Suppose in some semi-darkness, you are seeing something. You are not very sure whether it is a human being or a log of wood. So then, unless you throw light, you will not know. So you are not knowing what it is. So that means there is something there, that Sat is there. So you cannot say whether it is there or you cannot say whether it is not there. So that is the problem. Because people usually say, can you show God? In fact, this is the same question Vivekananda seems to have put to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Vivekananda, when he first met Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he is said to have challenged him, can you show God to me? Vivekananda at that time, like all of us in our young days, he was also a great rationalist, and then he was thinking himself, Vedanta itself is rationalism. Vedanta does not go beyond reasoning. So Vedanta takes into consideration reasoning only. So it is not belief. So the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa seems to have said, yes, I am able to see God. This gentleman asked, have you seen God? Yes, I have seen God. I have seen, do you now see him? Yes, I see him as clearly as I see you. Then can you show him to me? Yes, you stay here for a couple of years, I will show him to you. Then good sense prevailed and Vivekananda stayed there for a couple of years, and then that question itself disappeared because he realized that what is God, he realized the divinity. So that is what is the episode. It is a real life episode, it is not a story. It is a real life episode which happened between this Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Vivekananda. So like that, people say, yes, can you show me? We cannot show Srungagrahikaya by holding a horn and then snatching it and bringing it there. You can't show. And you cannot say it is not there. And how are you going to say it is there? Then the next shloka comes. So because all through Vedanta, the supreme reality is defined or not defined, the supreme reality is told in terms of what it is not. It is not this, it is not this, it is not this, it is not this. So, asthulam, ananu, it is not something which is gross, it is not something which is subtle. Then ajara, amara, it has no old age, it has no death. And aja, it has no origin. Ananta, it is something which has no end. And then again, like avyaya, it does not decline. Avikari, it does not change. So like that all, it is not so, not so, not so, not so. And that is what is the famous word, neti, neti, neti. Neti, what is this neti? Na plus iti. Not this, not this, not this. So you cannot show that supreme reality, you can't show God. This is it, this is it, this is it, you can't show. You can only say, it is not this, it is not this, it is not this. So that is the reason why. And this Brahman is something which is the only entity which is present. The only entity means that is the only thing which is pervading the whole universe. So it has no jati, guna, kriya, any object if you want to define. There are certain features to that. What are the features? One is jati. To what class does it belong? For example, a human being is a class. Animal, a dog is a class. Or, a horse is another class. Or something inanimate, this pen is a class. And jati, it has to belong to a jati if you want to identify a thing. Similarly, kriya. Kriya is something, what is the function it does? It writes. Something else, a horse, it runs or it is useful for something, for war, whatever it is. Jati, kriya. Then guna. Guna means, okay, it is blue, it is yellow, it is red, etc. Or that is tasty, it is not tasty, it is so fragrant, it is so fragrant, it is not so fragrant. So these are all the gunas or the qualities. So jati, guna, kriya, guna. Then sambandha. Sambandha means some type of relationship. Relationship is possible when there are two objects. When there is only one thing called supreme reality, that supreme consciousness, indivisible consciousness, where is the question of sambandha to that? So all these things are excluded. So that is how we cannot say it is sat, we cannot say it is asat. So because this Brahman is something which is always designated in terms of what it is not. So this is a very, very heavy thing for an ordinary listener to understand. But if you want to really know the crux of Vedanta, what exactly is that? Because we always worry about what is this God. Then this is the reason why Upanishad also says, if you go to Kena Upanishad starts with a very startling statement. Not starting, in the very first few shlokas, Nedam yedidam upasate, yad vachana abhyuditam, yena vaga abhyudyate. Where Kena Upanishad says, whatever you see as though this is so, you are worshipping this. When you are worshipping this with a God, with a name and form, that is not the supreme reality. When you are worshipping something with a sense of duality, I am something different and God is something different, then that thing is not the supreme reality. So, nedam yadidam upasate. It is not, that is not the supreme reality. That is what it says. So then, in fact, that statement has been used by some other people of other religions. They say, okay, your own Upanishad says the God which you are worshipping is not the true God, you come to our religion. So some of the mischievous people, they do that. So anyway, we have to understand Vedanta to understand the mischief of other people also. Then we come to the next shloka, that is 13th shloka. In the 12th shloka, he said, na sattan na sadyate, you cannot say it is there, you cannot say it is not there. Then how do you know? Yes, because the 13th shloka says, yes, this is the way we have to know. We have to understand rather. So 13th shloka says, sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshi shiro mukham sarvatah shruti malloke sarvam avrutya tisthati. So sarvatah panipadam tat. So you say that it is not there. You cannot say it is not there, you cannot say it is there, but it is there. Sarvatah panipadam. All it is, wherever you see, all the limbs of all the living beings, all the beings, they belong to that. That is, my hand My leg, your hand, your leg, the mosquitoes, whatever trunk, whatever it is, you call it trunk, or mosquito puts a immerses so that injects its trunk and then sucks the blood. The mosquito's trunk, an elephant's trunk, all these things, they belong to that. That is sarvataha pani padam tat. Pani and padam. Pani means hand, pada is leg. These are the karmendriya. Karmendriya means organs of action. All the organs of actions, lion, when the lion is pouncing, the lion's teeth, or lion's talons, all these things, lion's nails, all those things, they are all, they belong to that. Sarvatah panipadam tad, that is karmendriya. Sarvatokshi shiro mukham. Sarvatah akshi shiraha mukham. Akshi means I. I not only refers to I only, I alone. I refers to, it has to include all other indriyas also. When the text says one indriyam, it applies to other indriyas also. Sarvatokshi. Akshi, aksha actually is indriya. Akshi is I. Sarvatokshi Shiromukam is all the indriyas, all the sense organs of all the beings, of all living beings. They are manifestation of that only. Sarven, the Sarvato, Akshi, Shiro, Mukham. All cognitions of all beings, all cognitions of all living beings are illumined by that one particular consciousness. So that is what it means. It is not as though one particular light is illumining this. Again, we have to bring the example of sunlight only. Because Upanishads very often they talk about the sunlight example. So just as the sunlight falls on so many water bodies, the same consciousness is illumining the antahkarana of all the beings. So sarvataha akshi shiromukam, all cognitions of all beings are illumined by that. Then sarvataha shrutimat loke. Shrutimat, shruti means ear, the sense of hearing. So sarvata shrutimat, all the senses. Of course, he used that word akshi earlier. Now he is also telling about shruti. He need not tell about nose and he need not tell about skin and all that. They are all understood. So sarvata shrutimal loke, ears all around. And sarvam avrutya tisthati. And it encompasses everything. Avrutya, avarana is what? Encompassing everything. Sarvam avrutya tisthati. So we will continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.